Well, she knows that's the only concert that I went to.
I want to get this shirt. It's got a big picture of Michael with it. It's got the lead singer from Metallica, Aerosmith, the Motley Crue, and they're sitting there pushing buttons on the microwave. It's like 20 minutes of the new kid.
Oh, that's terrible. Well, she just knows it.
Their lead singer.
How old are you, Aunt Jessie?
91 tomorrow.
91 tomorrow.
I don't have me talking on this thing.
What are you doing? Let me say it for me.
You have good hair. Right. But I got snake pits. Yeah, they rip me off the mouth. In between the screen door and the door.
You don't think we want to eat them all? Hey, that's little sister for you. Yeah. Hello, boy. Clarence will be here a little bit. Really? Wow. His wife had to work from home. Oh, no. He said that he'd be here.
Where's your eyes at?
Right up there.
Water tonight.
Let's go look.
Hey, Ralph.
Hello, how you doing?
Fine.
Check in, will you? But man, fool.
Oh, I see you. You must be one of them Hollywood guys with them there shades on.
Yeah,
Mother, may I?
I've just had surgery on my eyes.
You told me you're going to eat 2 fries, so don't eat too much of that. You don't need to go fishing.
Good Carol, take that spot. No, you're not.
Still home. It's been hot out there, too.
Well, I'm
The weather's changing everywhere.
Premeditated coming back.
I'll go get one and let Mike over there. I'm younger than you are.
No, you're not either.
That's so.
Yes, sir.
find that good homemade bread.
Gonna put some of them in the garden.
Yeah.
Over the boat? Yeah. Who's messing it? Bubba's tearing it down. Yeah? Boy, you have to give me some money to take my picture.
I'm gonna show this to Hollywood, and they may want a bad guy, but
You what?
Or maybe say how's the boys take the bed. He said, alright. You can take a picture of something else now, Chris.
Huh?
The little red lights on.
I just started.
Now take one of Evelyn. And take one of Misty.
Mommy.
You
Yeah.
have to move it so slow.
Mommy and Daddy and Baby and little Baby. Did you get his coat, please?
Where'd you get those ugly sunglasses, Ellen?
I got these at Walmart. What's the matter, Pumpkin? My good sunglasses. In the holes and over the little trees, don't you? He fell right over that. Well, he takes off running. He doesn't know he can't get over it. In the back, he was kind of brushed off. Oh, Evan, wash off. You're okay. Yes, that's a camera. Here, brush off. Here's your mommy. He needs to get dusted off. Stand up and let's dust your mommy. Let's stand up and let mommy dust you off. Here. Oh, Evelyn.
I got green clay. Me too. Look at mine. I got some cheese.
You sit here next to mommy while she'll hold on to you.
Look at mine. I got
Here, Preston. Here's your spoon. Here, you feel better now?
Mommy.
Here I am.
no thank you.
Get your hair in, honey.
Yay.
I come with drugs over there 1 year and I'm I let him run the stable and got between him and old cow, and I just started up there at his head and he just went down and knocked him. And I just barely got out of that stable. I mean, all of him come out of that stable. He run out there and laid down through his feet right up there. And Henry, he didn't straddle that little old fence there. He just jumped it. Every time he did the ground, he'd turn and run first and break that bull's back. I'm going right, you are going. Amazing. Those bulls probably thought they take more than
I gotta get my camera.
I was thinking I couldn't play nothing for a long time. I've been going there and work Clarence Lee.
At what?
I don't know what it is. My hand. Where's my friend? Where's my friend? He's fixing to be chief up there at town for him.
You gotta be kidding. Well, I hope he is. My kid's got another year up there.
Why did Shirley come?
I got
And then it went back down. At first my lip and everything felt numb.
He thought it was a bummer. Things going well. I put the camera on Nick and he said that
Well, you don't look like you got a lot of weight from your Between two of us, I figured we probably gained 50, 60 pounds. Had a person. Yeah, between. And we're starting to lose a little bit, but it's going off a lot slower than it came on. Hey, that's my experience. He cooks good. I don't. You said you got out there to everybody's.
You know, you stayed out late.
That's all. You never get her in the kitchen.
Got a bill now.
What are you doing over there?
Got a lot of rolls.
Whenever we get over here, we get our About ready to go.
You what?
You're about ready to go.
Long later.
Hey, Laura, you freezing over there. I need somebody to take you to the supermarket.
So it's going to ride.
We go around this way. We go behind the camera.
Is that a break in your
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. Not today.
I'll just read
Catch him like that.
You get all of it. All right, smile. Cheeseburger.
And Michael stand there going,
David.
Oh, right here, Ray. Come here. Ray, he's got it here.
Ray.
We call him Dobie.
Get over his shade.
'76. His name was John Proctor. At that time, there were only about 4 million people in the United States. And he had come from England. The name is very English, and with a little effort it can be traced back probably to the time of the First Crusades, or maybe even further to William the Conqueror, which would be 1099 or 1066 in England. John came here with his son Nathan. He was 88 years old at the time when he came in. And by the way, he's buried across the creek over here at the old home place. Any of you girls who are Proctor descendants and are interested in joining Daughters of the American Revolution, I can document that so that you can actually prove that you're a descendant of a soldier in the Revolutionary War. That's open only to daughters of the American Revolution, not sons, by the way. John Proctor was 88 years old when he came in with his son to the area across the creek over here, which is about 2,000 feet or so, almost due west of where Soft lives, back up in the woods there. His son Nathan was at the time about 42, 3 years old. And John Egbert, who is Jessie's father, was born over there. The rest of the kids had been born in the rounds they had been on. They moved from Virginia to Indiana, I believe it was, for a few years. They were chasing land grants, and went to Bentonville, Arkansas, where they stayed for 5 years. Their farm was located quite close to where the Pea Ridge battlefield is, up out of Fayetteville there a ways. And then on March the 24th, 1841, they landed here, or they landed across the creek over there, and bought, because of the measurements, it was equivalent to 2 sections on it. Wasn't quite that much. It was deeded from the Republic of Texas in Spanish varas. Vara is 33 inches long, so it came out 1,141 acres. And they sold land off to a variety of people over the years, but much of it, including this land here, has never been out of the Proctor. Has never been out of the Proctor family. He had several kids. William Smith was 36 in 1861. Spence Proctor was 34. John Egbert, Aunt Jessie's father, was 19, and Henry was 17. The war came along, and on October the 4th, 1861, at Boston, they mustered in a K Company, which they nicknamed the Flora Legion, into what they thought was the 3rd Texas Cavalry Regiment. They went to Gainesville, to still, well, even through World War II, was still an Army base out there. And they did their training, only they got changed to the 11th Texas Cavalry. Henry is buried in Dalby, and they have the wrong unit designation on his tombstone because the 3rd and the 11th Texas Cavalry were kind of mixed together, particularly K Company. Henry and William Smith joined the 11th, and the old son went along to take care of the young son, and then the other two joined the 23rd Texas Cavalry Regiment later on in the fall, which it was headquartered up at Gainesville and was never headquartered anyplace else, and I'll tell you about that they participated in a little bit. But on December the 26th, 1861, about 1:30 in the afternoon, the 3rd, the 9th, and the 11th Texas Cavalry Regiment dismounted and were they had been taking over the forts that the Yankees left after the war was declared. So they came up on 1,700 Indians that had a bunch of slaves, a bunch of wagons. They were civilized tribes, and the Yankees had gotten 1,700 Indians to face the Confederates that were coming up. As a consequence, between 200 and 230 Indians were killed in that engagement, and there were 3 Confederate soldiers killed, and 5 that were wounded in a manner that they didn't think they would live. William Smith Proctor, the 36-year-old brother, was one of those, and they said he's just momentarily going to die. They put him in a hospital at Van Buren, Arkansas, and he stayed there for 5 months, and they discharged him, and he came home. And then April of ’63, he married over here at Dalby, but Henry was his best man. But Henry stayed with the 11th and became a part of Wheeler's brigade that interestingly enough, was the main protection against Sherman's army as they went south through Georgia to the coast. If I'm telling you more than you want to know, somebody raise your hand, well, I'll cut it down some. But in any case, Henry, when he was 18 at Fairfield, Tennessee, became ill, and they put him on a horse and sent him home. And at the time he was 18 years old, in his 18th year, he had been in combat for a year and a half. He had been with some guerrillas operating up into Missouri. The only thing they had was what they could steal from the Yankees or take away from them. So whenever they came in, they were so closely starved that they would give the horse an ear of corn and the man a biscuit and sausage and make her go 100 yards down to the river to drink, because if they ate any faster, it would kill them. In any case, he rode a horse home sick. It took 30 days to come back to the place here. And then after he recuperated, all four brothers then were joined up with the 23rd Texas Cavalry Regiment, which had basically its job of protecting the Red River against the incursions by the Yankees. By that, later in the war, they had taken over New Orleans, and they were coming up and down the Mississippi after the fall of Vicksburg. But the campaign of, spring of 1864, what they call the Red River Campaign, they had a general who really didn't know much about being a general. But the Yankees sent him up on some boats off the Red River. And as he came up the Red River, dismounted not too far from Pleasant Hill, which is about 40 miles south of Shreveport. They were going to capture Shreveport because there were a lot of people that were growing cotton and couldn't ship it out, that were tired of the war, and they were going to try to convert this part of the country back to the Yankee fold and let them ship their cotton out, because the Yankees were needing it pretty badly too, since that's where all the textile mills were. 23rd Texas Cavalry Regiment was under the command of a French general, a Louisiana French general, and they became a part of Javier's brigade. And early on the morning of the 8th of April, they went and deployed in lines 500 yards apart. The cavalry did. They had 3 regiments in the brigade. They deployed 500 yards apart and slowed the Yankees' march down northward from 3 miles an hour to 1 mile an hour. And when they got up to Mansfield, there was a big field about like that field out there. And they swung, the road was coming up north, they swung the cavalry off to the west and pushed them all out into this open field. And in the shade trees down there waiting were 8,800 Confederates. And the French general led a cavalry charge against them at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Now this political general had put his wagons, he had 200 wagons and 800 mules with all of his ordnance stores and everything in it, put it up front. They were moving through the woods, as you can imagine, a very narrow road. And so that night, after the battle, about an hour or so into the battle, the Yankees had turned tail and run, because they killed thousands of them. Well, 2,559, I think it was. Which, by the way, in that 1 hour battle there, the United States lost more troops than they did on the D-Day landings on Normandy Beach in a period of 24 hours, where they had engaged 159,000 troops. But the Yankees turned and ran, and within about 2 hours after the battle began, they were something like 6 miles back down the road. And the Confederates had got all the 200 wagons and all of the mules that went with them. And the next day they had the Battle of Pleasant Hill. The only one still on their feet was our great-grandpa, John Egbert, who was with the 23rd. In fact, he was attached to the Teamsters. He was handling ordnance in that battle. That was the last battle that the South won. All the other 3 were ill and at home, and he was discharged then in April of 1865 in the exact spot where the courthouse of Harrison, the old courthouse of Harrison County sits in Marshall, Texas. Disbanded and came home at that time. They have done some studies, and an interesting aside on this is that the rating of cavalry over history by a fellow named Simmons out of, he's a retired Air Force colonel who's a professor at Hillsborough Junior College, and rated the best light cavalry in history. The best were the Mongols under the Khans in a period of 1300 to 1450. Then the Plains Indians were the second best, and then of all times the 3rd and the 11th Texas Cavalry that were recruited from this area right here were the third best light cavalry ever mounted in history, which means they were quite a bit tougher than I am because they lived pretty well on the horse. Well, going back further into England, England is not a nice place to live anymore. It's overgrown. It was overgrown in those days. And when John Proctor, probably his father, came over, would put the Proctors in the United States something like 300 years. So I had mentioned that to Doris, and they wanted me to relate it to you, so you might have some idea of your background and who the Proctors were and where they came from. 1841, March the 24th was the date that they came in and to here and settled. And there has been some talk possibly of having some advertising so that we get a hold of the Proctors, because there literally are thousands of them around that are descended. There are hundreds, at least, direct descendants of those of that first family that came in. And, for example, I don't think any of the children of any of the brothers that fought the Civil War are here today, except John Edgar's, the descendants. So it might be something of interest to you to think about having a Proctor reunion commemorating the 150th anniversary of their coming sometime next year. If you're interested in that, then you might express that, and we'll see if we can get a name and address list and start doing something about putting together a commemorative event of some sort at that point, get some publicity. Okay. Anybody like asking questions? I'm just full of dates and stuff like that. Messes everybody's mind up. Just hear me, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned Pea Ridge.
Pea Ridge, huh?
Now, where was that up in Arkansas?
Pea Ridge, if you go to...
I think we were up there the other day.
See, Pea Ridge is... It's between Springdale and Fayetteville, Arkansas.
We were there.
I don't know the exact location of the farm, but that's where it was, right
They
there.
do have all that information on the historic monument.
Did you see any problems?
The same story, you just know.
So didn't have the problem with
I don't know if it's
No, that unit didn't find it. None of the units fought up there. Pea Ridge was kind of an accident. It was the only battle in the South in the war where the Yankees attacked South and the Yankees attacked North and the Southerners attacked South.
There was another battlefield pretty close.
Yeah, it's the same one. It's west of Fayetteville out there. I don't recall the name of it. Yes, Welch is, of course, is a Welch. The name means people from Welch, or Wales. Wales is the western part of the United Kingdom, and England is a multitude of countries, in case you wonder. The Welches came, and Aunt Jessie's got a lot of information on them in Alabama, but Benjamin Welch joined the 38th Alabama Infantry in 1861. He was a fairly old man at that time, and he was captured at the first Battle of Bull Run, which was very early in the war, and he spent 4 years in the prison camp in Camp Chase, Ohio. Almost starved to death. When they released him, they just said, "Bye, guys, go home," and they had to beg food all the way home and walk home. But he said that the best meal that he ever had was molded cornbread and sorghum syrup. So that close to starving. He came over from Alabama in 1868, bought some land from the Proctors, and then 2 of his daughters married 2 Proctor sons, and then his wife had died and is buried at Hope, Arkansas. On the wagon coming over here, she died and they buried her in Hope. And he married then one of the Proctor sisters. Well, it's your mother's. He married your mother's aunt, your great aunt. And then the Balls, they sold land to VT's grandfather, I believe, wasn't it, VT?
Not sure.
Where the ball place is, the property line, in case you're interested, is where this fence line is here. It's over yonder, close to where the barn is over Granny Howard's. Go straight north and it comes out, no particular landmark there. It follows the dirt road down and then around. That's where the original land was. If you look real close, you can see the old road in there. The old home place is across the creek over there, as I mentioned, and you can still find it. It has a bunch of crepe myrtles is up northeast of where Kenny Proctor's truck is going. No, not where the rock graves are. John Proctor and them, there's some rock graves back over there, and people think that they buried generally in there. They did not. That was only one family, the Blythes, that were buried there. But John Proctor, there was one rock over here at the graves. I know approximately exactly where they're buried. They're buried at the home site. There was a rock there that had JP on it, and I don't know if it's still there or not. It's at the home site. There was 2 slaves, a young child, John Proctor, and a 19-year-old boy or girl, Carrie, I think, buried over there. But there's a little trace of it anymore.
Is that the slaves?
It's not 2,000 feet west of where Sock lives. There's a lack of it. Well, I thought perhaps you might have some interest in that, so wanted to relate.
Yeah, enjoyed that. Ken here is up there. I ran this one old mountain. Sure.
Take 2 or 3 of them.
Get out here, boy. Go away.
Hurry up. Woo! Y'all through. We are creating heat.
Hey, love on it. Wait. I'm like LD now. Let's get out.
Wait.